Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this morning's edition of MPC Markets Morning Call. My name is Mark Gardner. 25th of September 2025. US AI stocks drifted off overnight as Powell had a few remarks at a Rhode Island conference or event, and noting that US growth and labour markets had softened while inflation was staying above the Fed's 2% target. He emphasised the risk of cutting rates too aggressively, saying there was no risk-free path forward. This is sort of tempered rate expectations, which took sort of really cooled what you can only really describe as white-hot US equity markets. Adding to that as well, Alibaba was up around about 10% overnight. It's on the back of releasing their Qwen 3 Max, their new large language model. Not necessarily a DeepSeek moment, I don't believe, but certainly a massive amount of progress. We'll have a look at that a little bit later on. Yesterday for the SPY, 10 of 11 sectors declined, led by the banks, technology, consumer stocks. We had Drone Shield jump on US expansion plans. James Hardie slumped on a City downgrade. Terra Royalties jumped on an asset sale. But one of the first times we've seen the technical indicators on average having a sell there now in the Aussie. We've still got strong buys in the Hang Seng, China A50 and the Nikkei. However, that's obviously being buoyed very specifically by Alibaba, which is one of the largest stocks there in the indexes. But Dow on the alley and the Russell now strong sell. But look, it's barely a cool off, to be brutally honest with you. Down 0.37, down 0.29, down. The Russell down 1%. That's very interest rate sensitive, so I kind of understand that. Let's have a look at the heat map. You've got small losses here in Nvidia and Apple. Intel's gone to Apple and asked for an investment. At the moment, Intel's kind of looking like a homeless guy that everyone needs to chip money into, short of to help save them. Short of starting a GoFundMe page. I don't know how much more assistance these guys can possibly get after being, I think they need to clean out management overall, given the fact that they need so much investment. They've just been lucky enough to be in the right sector. Otherwise, it'd be very grim outlook for that company. Did have Meta slide up slightly as a CRM. Tesla got upgraded last night as well. There's a lot of brokers in the US and Asia. There was a couple of sort of mid-tier brokers that upgraded Tesla last night. They did get awarded a patent on what's called unboxed factory process. So it really is when you sort of dig into it, basically the Cybercab will be 6 to 7 times faster to produce than the Model Y at the Gigafactory in Shanghai. They're going to build a vehicle every 33 seconds. Now, the goal is to build a Cybercab every 5 seconds. The unboxed process, and this is I've just snipped the socials part, but if you go and have a look at the Cybercab or the video there, I can't run a video within this live broadcast, but you can find it on x.com. It's quite incredible. It's a completely new way to pull together the vehicles. It's sort of major parts are held together by vacuum, and then there's a fastening process which is liquid. It's quite incredible. But they've received this patent. It's been 16 months sitting with the patent office, but a vehicle every 33 seconds, oh my Lord, that's, the changes he's making in manufacturing here, Elon Musk is quite incredible. So do yourself a favor and go and try and find that video on X. It's quite a sight to see and quite an advancement in general technology. Alibaba as well. So this Qwen 3 Max was released. There's a trillion parameter AI model. So essentially, GPT-4 MOE can do, it can do it, but the normal use model basically really is only about 200 billion. And yeah, you've got, so it is a definite leap, and we're, mixture of experts is architecture is what the, is what MOE is. It's a mixture of, so you can do efficiency and scaling. So GPT-4 has 1.76 trillion parameters in the MOE configuration, though they're not all activated during inference. Its commonly used version has far less activated, comparable to dense models around 220 billion. So, look, leading size, MOE, and top benchmarks. Look, this will be a game of leapfrog constantly for the next few years. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Grok was benchmarking at, really high. For some reason, Grok hasn't been included in these benchmarking, but I used one of the AI models to try and go and have a look at what the initial reactions were here in the benchmark tests from a lot of the financial journalists and things overnight. So the QuenMax score, in these benchmark tests are, extraordinarily high compared to, these are 4 different benchmark tests. They rank higher than Claude for Opus 4 and DeepSeek as well. Outperform the top Western models and the Chinese models, maths reasoning leader and real world coding leader. So it's a pretty significant step, and I dare say as well, those large language models, the more efficient they become and the more advances they have, and these inference chips as well, are going to start to eat into, those super high margin NVIDIA chips potentially, and maybe bring, other competitors into the game, like, like Broadcom and Qualcomm, for instance. So look, it's something to look out for. It's, it's just a progression of the AI thematic overall. For those of you who want to see a bit of a deep dive into it, tune into Ausbiz for the call today. I'm on with Mark Morland. We've got a half US, half Aussie episode today. And Alibaba, I believe, might be stock of the day. It may not be, if anything changed at the last minute. Micron actually drifted off overnight as well. There was initial really positive reactions and quite a few upgrades. I think Deutsche upgraded Micron to $195 price target, and yeah, it was pretty surprising to sort of see it pull back a little bit as well. It did rally quite considerably into the number. We bought it about two or 3 weeks ago around the 125, 130 mark, and we essentially sold it 2 days before earnings, around sort of this, just a little bit higher than these levels, I believe, or around these levels at 161, because we just sort of thought that the hype around it and the jump in the 2 weeks leading up just couldn't possibly match the earnings. So, and that's what's happened, and that's what the price action has told us. So, it's a good move there by the boys in the Global Alpha. We'll have Costco earnings tonight, Uranium Energy Corp, which I can't imagine can be anything more than anything but disappointing, to be honest. The uranium sector has just been going absolutely ballistic, and so we're really, I wouldn't be expecting too much out of that. Because the reality is sometimes does not necessarily meet those high expectations. So uranium pulled back 3.5 last night, still up plenty for the for the last few weeks overall. We've got gold taking a bit of a breather. Silver took a smaller breather. Copper rallied. I haven't seen anything in particular there in terms of news stories for copper, but probably due for a bit of a bounce, I've got to say. That uranium ETF, by the way, is up 25% for the month, including that drop of 3.5% last night. So I think just some general cooling off of some hot thematics here at the moment. The market's starting to reset a little bit, which I think is healthy, because I think anything we rally from here realistically is the market is very much priced at perfection. If you go on Twitter or whatever on socials and things, the parade of just bearish valuations, like signals and actual, like, it's super convincing at the moment. Everyone's got a metric saying that the market's overvalued, yet here we are. I think they're underestimating heavily the scale of AI as an industrial revolution style sort of thematic, and I dare say we will get it. We will get some shaky ground at some stage, but even the last month in particular, like I said, we've had some of our top picks, in that data center space. Oklo's up 100, Oracle's up 40, Vertiv's up 20. The copper miners, even Ecolab's the only one that's lagging, but and look, Tesla as well. We've released a high conviction buy on that. It's been in our high conviction picks for quite some time, but we, on fresh catalyst, we released a buy yesterday as well. So, and it was up sort of 3%. But this robotics and automation thematic is going to be quite huge. So, the Security Super Cycle is going to be the webinar that we've got going on the 7th of October. But November's webinar, I'm happy to announce, is going to be on robotics and automation. So, and AI as well. Obviously, AI being a part of it. That will be on November 4th. So get yourself subscribed to the Security Super Cycle, because outside of AI, to be honest, this defense thematic is, if the AI thematic wasn't happening, say we were two or 3 years ago, I think this defense and security thematic would be the hottest thing in markets, and it'd be all we're talking about. It's just that we've got Trump making constant headlines and AI obviously doing these mega deals, but it's one of the strongest and possibly the most solid thematics, with very sticky customers being the government, etc. So do yourself a favour, register for that. And as I said, the stock picks from the last webinar they're up around about probably 30%, versus the index only being up around about probably just under 3 now. So yeah, there's some decent picks in there for you. There will be some ASX picks as well as some global picks in that. So yeah, that really wraps it up for today. I don't really see too much happening on the ASX overall. I think we'll just be broadly a bit softer. The SPY was off about 0.46. And we will. I think the interest rate sensitive parts of the market will probably be the weakest overall, just due to the fact that we had that inflation number that was at 3% yesterday, and a few of the brokers have taken rate cuts off the table for the rest of the year in Australia. I still think we'll get one, but I don't think it'll be for the right reasons. I think we'll start to see the economy weakening a little bit leading into the end of the year, and just a general pullback overall and with sentiment. So, but look, everyone have a great day, and we'll speak again tomorrow morning. General advice warning. The content presented in this presentation is intended for informational purposes only and provides general advice only. It does not take into account your personal objectives, financial situation, or specific needs. This information should not be the sole resource when making investment decisions. We strongly recommend you seek the advice of a financial professional.